In affection, glory goes to our Heavenly Father, Oaya, Awa, and to Mashak, Joshua, and to the Holy Spirit. And greetings to my beloved brothers and sisters of all nations. Alright, this is led by the Spirit. I want to do this video, Acts 23, 24, and 25. Maybe two-part series, but I want to do start with 23, Paul before the council. This is to strengthen you all that nothing, no angels, no council, no principalities, no priests, no judges, nothing can separate us from the Spirit, you know what I'm saying, the comforter and the love for our Messiah, for Joshua, you know what I'm saying, and you know what, and this is a testament, you know what I'm saying, that two have become one. Now, Paul before the council. Since he wanted to find out what Paul was being accused of by the Jews, the next day he released him and ordered the chief priests and the entire council to meet. He brought Paul down and had him stand before them. While Paul was looking intently at the council, he said, "Brothers, up to this day I have lived a life with a clear conscience before the Father." Then the high priest, Ananias, ordered those standing near him to strike him on the mouth. At this, Paul to him, "While our Father will strike you, you destroy the wall, you know, because, you know, they love the wall, you know what I'm saying, the law and the sun and the moon, you know, the status quo of the earth. Are you sitting here to judge me according to the law, and yet in violation of the law you order me to be struck?" Those standing by said, "Do you dare to insult the high priest?" Yeah, man, like, you know what I'm saying, everybody goes with the flow, you know what I'm saying, with the popular opinion. And Paul said, "I had not realized, brothers, that he was a priest, for it is written, you shall speak evil of a leader of your people." When Paul noticed that some of the Sadducees and others were Pharisees, he called the country, "Brothers, I am Pharisees. I'm a Pharisee, a son. You know, we're all Israelites, we're brothers. You know. I am on the trial concerning hope of the resurrection of Adonai Mashiach." When he said this, a dissension began between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the assembly divided. And the Sadducees said there is no resurrection or angel or spirit, but the Pharisees acknowledged all three. Then a great clamor arose, and certain scribes of the Pharisee group stood and contended, "We find nothing wrong with this man. What if a spirit or an angel has spoken to him?" Yeah, you know, it's like right now, you know what I'm saying, like, I have, you know, the spirit of my father, and I'm a big brother, and I have a comfort with me, and I know that they have spoken and touched me because I was completely lost in this world, and my flesh and my mind, they fight with the spirit constantly, man, you know what I'm saying, constantly, man. I'm stricken and I suffer, you know what I'm saying, just to bring this truth out, you know what I'm saying, and you know what, I'm willing to die for the glory of my Father, and for the restoration of my brothers and sisters, if I have to be the martyr, you know what I'm saying, but I'm going to do what, you know, my Father's will be done, you know what I'm saying. Nothing can separate the love that I have for him. It's beyond my comprehension. Now, I said, so when the ascension and the spirit of an angel had spoken to him, when the dissension became violent, the tribune fearing that they would tear Paul to pieces, ordered the soldiers to go down, take him by force, and bring him into the barracks. That night, our watch stood near him and said, "Keep up your courage, for just as you have testified for me, Jerusalem, so you must bear witness also in Rome." Yeah, man, amongst our own people and amongst all the Gentiles, all nations. Now, the plot to kill Paul, man. In the morning, the Jews joined in a conspiracy and bound themselves by an oath neither to eat nor drink until they had killed Paul. There were more than 40 who joined in this conspiracy. They went to the chief priests and elders and said, we have strictly bound ourselves by an oath to taste no food until we have killed Paul. Now then, you and the council must notify the tribune to bring him down to you, and to pretext that you want to make a more thorough examination of his case, and we are ready to do away with him before he arrives. Now the son of Paul's sister heard about the ambush, so he went and gained entrance to the barracks and told Paul, call one of the centurions and said, "Take this young man to the tribune, for he has something to report to him." So he took him, brought him to the tribune, and said, "The prisoner Paul called me and asked me to bring his young man to you, and he has something to tell you." The tribune took him by the hand, drew him aside privately, and asked him, "What is it that you have to report to me?" He answered, "The Jews have agreed to ask you to bring Paul down to the council tomorrow, as though they were going to inquire more thoroughly into his case. But do not be persuaded by them, for more than 40 of their men are lying in ambush for him. They have bounded themselves by an oath neither to eat nor drink until they kill him. They are ready now and are waiting for your consent." So the tribune dismissed the young man, ordered him, "Tell no one that you have informed me of this." Yeah, man, a lot of people are gonna wanna kill you spiritually, physically also too, but mainly spiritually. That slander you, discredit you, so that you won't speak the peaceful truth, of the divine Father. Now, Paul said to Felix, the governor. Felix means, lucky, go happy, the governor, pretty much, the rising sun. Then he summoned two of the centurions and said, get ready to leave by 9 o'clock tonight for Caesarea with 200 soldiers, 70 horsemen, and 200 spearmen. Caesarea is like the port, the entrance to the sea. Also, provide mounts for the Paul to ride and take him safely to Felix the governor. He wrote a letter to this effect. Claudius Lycia of Excellency, the governor Felix, greetings. This man was seized by the Jews and was about to be killed by them, but when I had learned that he was Roman citizen, I came with the guards and rescued him, since I wanted to know the charge for which they accused him. I had him brought to the council. I found that he was accused concerning questions of the law, but was charged with nothing deserving death or prison. When I was informed that there would be a plot against the man, I sent him to you, ordering his accusers also to state before you what they have against him. So the soldiers, according to their instruction, took Paul and brought him during the night to Antipatris. The next day they let the horsemen go on to him while they returned to the barracks. When they came to Caesarea and delivered the letter to the governor, they presented Paul also before him. On reading the letters, he asked what province he belonged to, and when learned that he was from Sicilia, he said, I will give you a hearing when your accusers arrive. For then he ordered them he kept under guard in Herod's headquarters. Alright, so now look, this is chapter 24, Paul before Felix at Caesarea. I said Felix is happy-go-lucky, and Caesarea is the port to sea. So pretty much he went up against like the heads of the physical body, of sun moon worshippers. Like let's say you're going up to talk to like the Pope, so to speak. 5 days later, the high priest Ananias came down with some elders and attorney and certain Tertullus, and they reported their case against Paul, right, to the governor. When Paul had been summoned, Tertullus began to accuse him, saying, Your Excellency, because of you, we have long enjoyed peace, and reform have been made for this people because of your foresight. Yeah, reform, man, false doctrine. We welcome this in every way and everywhere with utmost gratitude. But to detain you no further, I beg you to hear us briefly with your customary graciousness. We have, in fact, found this man a pestilent fellow, an agitator among all the Jews throughout the world, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarene, the gospel of the Orionites of the Messiah, man, Jeshua. He even tried to profane the temple, and so we seized him. By examining him yourself, you will be able to learn from him concerning everything of which he is accused of. So the Jews also joined in charge by asserting that all this was true. Yeah, your own people, man, so young. Paul's defense before Felix. When the governor mentioned to him to speak, Paul replied, I cheerfully make my defense, knowing that for many years you have been a judge over this nation. As you can find out, it is not more than 12 days since I went up to worship in Jerusalem. They did not find me disputed with anyone in the temple or stirring up a crowd either in the synagogues or throughout the city. Neither can they prove to you the charges that they now bring against me. But this is, I admit to you, according the way which they call a sect, I worship, our Father, or Ayah, of our ancestors, being everything laid down according to the law is written in the prophets. I have hope in our Father. When our Father, I hope they themselves also accept there will be a resurrection of the Messiah, the righteous and the upright. Therefore, I do my best always have a clear conscience towards all people. Now, after some, I came to bring aims to my nation to offer sacrifices. While I was this, they found me in the temple, completing the rites of purification. In many crowds and disturbance, but where some Jews from Asia ought to be here before you, accusing if they have any against me, or let these men, what crime they have found against me, to stood before the council until was this one sentence that I called while standing before them. It is the resurrection of the dead and on trial before you today. Yeah, man, you died, to the world, but you reborn in the spirit, of the Messiah. But Felix, who was rather informed about the way, that's what the original instead of Christian was called the way to the light. I adjusted the hearing with the comments, and Lycia, the tribune, comes down, decided your case. Then he ordered the centurions to keep him in custody, but he let him have some liberty, get space. Now it says here, do it prevent any of his friends from taking care of his business. Paul held in custody, right? Some days later, when Felix came with his wife Drusilla, who was Jewish, He sent her Paul and heard him speaking concerning the faith in Yeshua Messiah. And as he discussed justice, self-control, and the coming judgment, Felix became frightened and said, "Go away for the present. When I have an opportunity, I will send for you." At the same time, he hoped that money would be given by Paul, and for that reason he used to send for him very often and converse with him. After 2 years had passed, we were successful by Porcius Festus, since he wanted to grant the Jews favor. Felix left Paul in prison, right? So you're gonna be held, in prison, man. You know what I'm saying? Like spiritually and suppressed, pretty much, man. Paul appeals to the emperor. 3 days after Festus had arrived in the province, he went from Caesarea to Jerusalem, and the chief priests and the leaders, the Jews, gave him a report against Paul. They appealed to him and request as a favor to them as Paul to have him transferred to Jerusalem. They were in fact planning an ambush to kill him. How Festus replied that Paul was to be kept at Caesarea, and that he himself intended to go there shortly. I left those of you the authority to come down with, and if there was anything wrong in the man, let him accuse him. After he had stayed among them more than 8 or 10 days, he came down to Caesarea the next day, took his seat on the tribunal, and answered Paul to be brought. When he arrived, the Jews had gone down to Jerusalem, surrounding him, many serious charges against him, which they could not prove. Paul, in his defense, "I have in no way committed an offense against the law of the Jews, or against the temple, or against the emperor." But Festus wished to do the Jews a favor, asked Paul, "Do you wish to go up to Jerusalem and be tried there before me on these charges?" Paul said, "I am appealing to the emperor's tribunal. This is where I should be tried. I have done no wrong to the Jews, or you very well know that now if I am the wrong and have committed something for which deserve to die, I am not trying to escape death. But if there is nothing to be charged against me, no one can turn me over to them. I appeal to the emperor." Then Festus, after he had compared with the council, replied, "You have appealed to the emperor. To the emperor you will go." So Festus consults King Agrippa. Agrippa means he who causes pain on birth. So that could be the son. You know what I'm saying? Or that could be the some kind of angel of death. Something. A higher being, or a higher entity. You know what I'm saying? Or someone. Manifested in that entity. After several days had passed, King Agrippa and Bernice arrived at Caesarea to welcome Festus. Since they were staying there several days, Festus set Paul's case before the king, saying, "There is a man here who was left in prison by Felix. When I was in Jerusalem, the chief priests and the elders of the Jews informed me about him and asked for a sentence against him. I told them that it was not the custom of the Romans to hand over one before the accused had met the accuser face to face and had gained opportunity to make a defense against the charge. So when they met her, I lost no time, but on the next day they took my seat on the tribunal and ordered the man to be brought. When the accusers stood up, they did not charge him with any crimes that I was suspecting. Instead, they had certain points of disagreement with him about their own religion and about certain Yeshua, Messiah, who had died, but whom Paul asserted to be alive. Since I was at a loss how to investigate these questions, I asked whether he wished to go to Jerusalem and be tried there on those charges. But when Paul had appealed to be kept in custody for the decision of his imperial majesty, I ordered him to be held until I could send him to the emperor. And Agrippa said to Festus, Festus means a plague, something that, like a demon possibly, I remember Paul said that he had something given to him to keep him humble. I could relate to that, man, demonic entities battle the children of God, man. I would like to hear the man myself tomorrow, he said. You will hear him. Paul brought before Agrippa. So on the next day, Agrippa and Bernice came with pomp, and they entered the audience hall with military tributes and the prominent men of the city. Then Festus gave the order, and Paul was brought in. And Festus said, King Agrippa, and all here present with us, you see this man to whom the Jews community petitioned me, both in Jerusalem and here. Yeah, they probably cast lots on him, sorcery, witchcraft on him, shouted that he ought not to live any longer. But I found that he had done nothing deserving death. And when he appealed to his imperial majesty, I decided to set him free, but I have nothing definite to write to our sovereign about him. Therefore, I have brought him before all of you, and especially before you, King Agrippa, so that after that we have examined him, I may have something to write. For it seems to me realized to send a prisoner without indicating the charges against him. Now, Paul defends himself before Agrippa. Agrippa said to Paul, you have permission to speak for yourself. Then Paul stretched out his hand and began to defend himself. I consider myself fortunate if it's before you, King Agrippa, I am to make my defense today. against all the accusations of the Jews. When it says here, someone who causes pain at birth, it could be even you know, the father in some sense. It's just a higher authority. I'm not exactly sure, but I know that it's like it says, it's higher authority. I am to make my defense today. Someone's going to allow him to live. All the accusations of the Jews, because you are especially familiar with all the customs and controversies of the Jews. Therefore, I beg of you to listen to me patiently. All the Jews know my way of life. From my youth, a life spent from the beginning among my own people in Jerusalem, they have known for a long time, if they are willing to testify, that I have belonged to the strictest sect of our religion and lived as a Pharisee. And now I stand here a trial on account of my hope in the promise made by Allah. So, this Agrippa, saying he's pretty much the king of this world, saying, who, he has the angel of death with him, saying. Now, stand here on trial, been made by Elohim to answer, promise that our 12 tribes hope to attain, as they earnestly worship day and night. It is for this hope, Your Excellency, that I am accused by the Jews. Why is it that I thought incredibly by any of you that Allah raised the dead? What I'm saying? Yeah, man, he's speaking the gospel of peace, man, of the Messiah. Indeed, I myself was convinced that I ought to do many things against the name of Joshua of Nazareth, and that is what I did in Jerusalem, with authority receiving from the chief priest. I not only locked up many of the saints in prison, but I also cast my vote against them when they were being condemned to death. By punishing them often in all their synagogues, I tried to force them to blaspheme, and since I was so furious and rage at them, I pursued them from foreign cities. Yeah, just like at one point, man, I was, drinking the dumb, militant Kool-Aid, But, oh, yeah, that's all behind me. Paul testifies of his conversion, see? This is what I really want to get at. With this in mind, I was traversing to Damascus with the authority, that's the bloody city, and commission of the chief priest, when at midday along the road, Your Excellency, I saw a light from heaven, brighter than the sun, yeah, so from, the Father, man, shining around me and my companions. When he had all fallen to the ground, I heard a voice saying to me in Hebrew language, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Yeah, he was a sun worshiper before. It hurts you to kick against the gods. Asked, who are you? He goes, Adonai. Adonai answered, I am Jeshua, whom you persecuting. But get up and stand on your feet, for I have appeared to you for this purpose, to appoint you to serve and testify to the things in which you have seen me, and to those which I will appear to you. I will cue you from your people and from the Gentiles to whom I am sending you to open their eyes so that they may turn from darkness to light and the power of Satan to God, so that they may receive forgiveness of sins and place amongst those who are sanctified by my faith in me. Yes, he saw, he's seen the light just like me. I was living in darkness, severely, lost in the world, like a heathen. Now I see light, and I'm being persecuted for that, spiritually and physically and everything, financially and all whole package. Paul testifies of his preaching. After that, King Agrippa, not disobedient to the heavenly order, but declaring first to those in Damascus, the bloody city, then in Jerusalem and through the countryside of Judea and the Gentiles, that they should indeed turn to God and do these consent with repentance. For this the Jews seized me and attempted to try to kill me, but to this day had help from our Father, and so I stand testified to both small and great, doing nothing but what the prophets Moses said would take place. The Messiah must suffer, and that being the first to rise from the dead will proclaim light both to our, to the Jews and the people and to the Gentiles. That's true, man. It's always been predicted, saying that Yeshua was going to come and redeem us. Paul appeals to Agrippa to believe. While he was making his defense, Festus claimed, you are out of your mind. Paul, too much learning is driving you insane. But Paul said, I am not out of my mind. Most excellent Festus, but I am speaking the sober truth. Indeed, the king knows about these things, and to him I speak freely, for I am certain that none of these things has escaped his notice. Notice, for this was done in the corner. King Agrippa, do you believe in the prophets? I know that you believe. Agrippa said to Paul, are you so quickly persuading me to become a Christian? Paul replied, whether quickly or not, I pray to our Father that not only you, but also all who are here listening to me today might become such as I am, except for these chains. Yeah, man, except for the burden and the pain, suffering. That's what I'm saying, man. The hardest burden to carry, man, is leadership, man, or this word, man. Because see, this knowledge, man, it's not that I'm crazy, nothing. Because I'm just a dumbass nigga, man. This comes from above, from divine, man, and I have to do this, man, no matter the cost. To glorify the Father and for my brothers and sisters, man. Then the king got up, and with him the governor and Bernice and those who had been seated with them. And when they were leaving, they said to one another, "This man is doing everything to serve. To, he ain't doing nothing to deserve death or imprisonment." Agrippa said to Festus, "A man could have been set free if not appealed to the emperor." Okay, man. There you go. See, so basically, Paul went through so much shit, man, and you know, lost his life, and eventually, and he was okay with that, man, because like as I said, he who loses his life will gain it, man. So no matter the cost, brother, I'm saying, keep fighting. I'm saying, keep proclaiming, no matter what happens to you, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, whatever, man. Just keep fighting, man, to your last breath, man, and you'll gain the crown, man. Never give up, and the Father will find you. And on that, I want to say I love you all.